On Her Majesty's Secret Service is the sixth spy film in the James Bond series, based on the 1963 novel of the same name by Ian Fleming. Following the decision of Sean Connery to retire from the role after You Only Live Twice, Eon Productions selected an unknown actor and model, George Lazenby, to play the part of James Bond. Blindness is a 2008 Canadian film in English. It is an adaptation of the 1995 novel of the same name by Portuguese author José Saramago about a society suffering an epidemic of blindness. The film was written by Don McKellar and directed by Fernando Meirelles with Julianne Moore and Mark Ruffalo as the main characters. Dreamcatcher is a 2003 science fiction horror film adaptation of Stephen King's novel of the same name. It was directed by Lawrence Kasdan, and co-written by Kasdan and screenwriter William Goldman. The film stars Damian Lewis, Thomas Jane, Jason Lee and Timothy Olyphant as four friends who encounter an invasion of parasitic aliens. Doom is a 2005 science fiction action film directed by Andrei Bertkowiak. It is loosely based on the video game series of the same name created by id Software. The film follows a group of Marines in a research facility on Mars. Initially arriving on a rescue and retrieval mission after communications ceased, the Marines soon battle genetically engineered monsters plaguing the facility. Dawn of the Dead is a 1978 Italian-American horror drama film written and directed by George A. Romero. It was the second film made in Romero's Living Dead series, but contains no characters or settings from Night of the Living Dead, and shows in a larger scale the apocalyptic effects on society. Mission Impossible 2, also stylized as Mission Impossible 2 and abbreviated as MI2, is a 2000 American action spy film directed by John Woo, and the second film in the Mission Impossible series. Ethan Hunt, Tom Cruise, is recruited by the Impossible Missions Force, IMF, to find and destroy a dangerous biological weapon called Chimera from a rogue IMF agent named Sean Ambrose, Scott, with the help of his new girlfriend, Nyan Nordhoff Hall, Thandie Newton. Cabin Fever is a 2002 American black comedy horror film directed by Eli Roth and starring Ryder Strong, Jordan Ladd, James DeBello and Giuseppe Andrews. It was produced by Lauren Moose Evan Ostrowski and executive produced by Susan Jackson. 12 Monkeys, also known as 12 Monkeys, is a 1995 American science fiction film directed by Terry Gilliam, inspired by Chris Marker's 1962 short film Logic T, and starring Bruce Willis, Madeline Stowe, and Brad Pitt, with Christopher Plummer and David Morse in supporting roles. I'm Legend is a 2007 American post-apocalyptic science fiction horror film directed by Francis Lawrence and starring Will Smith. It is the third feature film adaptation of Richard Matheson's 1954 novel of the same name, following 1964's The Last Man on Earth and 1971's The Omega Man. Outbreak is a 1995 American medical disaster film directed by Wolfgang Peterson and based on Richard Preston's non-fiction book The Hot Zone. The film stars Dustin Hoffman, Rene Russo, and Morgan Freeman and co-stars Cuba Gooding Jr. 28 Days Later is a 2002 British post-apocalyptic horror film directed by Danny Boyle. The screenplay was written by Alex Garland. The film stars Cillian Murphy, Naomi Harris, Brendan Gleeson, Megan Burns, and Christopher Eccleston. Resident Evil is a 2002 German-British-French science fiction horror film written and directed by Paul W. S. Anderson. The film stars Mila Jovovich and Michelle Rodriguez. It is the first installment in the Resident Evil film series, which is based on the Capcom survival horror video game series Resident Evil. The Andromeda Strain is a 1971 American science fiction film produced and directed by Robert Wise. Based on Michael Crichton's 1969 novel of the same name and adapted by Nelson Gidding, the film stars Arthur Hill, James Olsen, Kate Reed, and David Wayne as a team of scientists who investigate a deadly organism of extraterrestrial origin.
We'll be right back.